Hello, my name is Ethan and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Delirium League 3.10. In this episode, I have put together and put in the effort and put together a special path of building just for you guys that want the budget version of the Golem build. So, I basically broke down my build into the minimalistic thing I could possibly do and think of to still make it be really strong. So I'll just show you both POBs, so give me a second. First I'll show you guys the old one. I think this is a good way to start. So this is our original path of building with our double corrupted fortify weapon and the soccer walls double corrupted and all these disgusting items and all these 1% reduced mana reserve jewels. And how do you ever copy something like this? It has a Watcher's Eye. Like, it's so expensive, right? Whoops, I just messed it all up. I just scrolled. Whatever. It was 2 point... Oh, God. Okay, just forget the old one. Okay, now here's the new one. Alright, so you know what our old one is. It's in the description below. Now here is the budget build. What do you actually get with the budget version? You get 1.05 million DPS per golem, 7 golems, so it's about 7,350,000 DPS for 7 golems, 5,500 life, capped reses and chaos res, which this chaos res is going to be 85% because I fit in the glorious vanity, and it's conquered by not the Val, but it's conquered by Zabakwa, just like my other one. So I'll show my main one for a second. Tree, it's Zabakwa like that, Xibaqua. Okay, so now to explain my choices and what I did here. So I started here and I came up and I said, yes, we will do the Zabakwa. I'll change this jewel, my bad. We want to use the Zabakwa jewel to change Mind Over Matter into Divine Flesh. We corrupt all these nodes. We don't use them anymore. We come up. I didn't decide on this right away. I'll explain after, but basically I know that I'm taking Golem Commander, Cruel Prep, and this Jewel Socket, because we need a lot of Jewel Sockets in the Golem build, because the Golem build you're going to be running 7 Harmonies, 7 of these Harmonies, 1 Might, and filling out the rest of the Jewel Sockets with Eminence. So with this pathing, we have the same amount of jewel sockets, except for 1, which I don't have a Watcher's Eye anyways, so it should work. So what I ended up doing here is, I'll talk about this after, but originally we just pathed up here, got the jewel socket, path, got our chaos res, got the aura stuff, got a jewel socket, the life, and the minion thing, because we're not using an elegant tuberous. We have a jewel socket. We pathed down, got this jewel socket, got this one down here. I pathed the outside of the skill tree first in my prep for a budget build, because I was going to do 3 large clusters, but then I realized that potentially not worth doing because it's very expensive and we're thinking about a budget, and obviously it's very ideal if people can work in the 3 large clusters, but for now I wanted to make a minimalistic thing where the biggest items, the items that cost the most, is the weapon and this large cluster jewel. Okay, that's the entire build. The rest is really cheap, I'll show you. Okay, so I pathed the outside, got all the jewel sockets. I didn't put anything in yet. Then I said, okay, 4 points for this jewel socket, 5 points for Grave Pact, 4 points for Constitution, 4 points for a jewel socket, 4 points for a jewel socket, 5 points for a jewel socket. I need Dex, by the way, because when you don't have soccer walls in the build, oh my god, you have to get Dex somewhere else, so we really had to get actual... Okay, so I'll explain now what happened. So I put the build all together, and I remembered that I hate Impale. So you have Impale, and you run Awaken Generosity Dread Banner. But in this case, I only have Generosity Dread Banner, because budget build. And the Impale was only at 73%, and I was like, oh god, 73. So I was like, you know what, it's better to recommend people at least 1 jewel with Rotting Claws. Trust me, At least one, please. Please, at least one, dude. And you could give up, like, Primordial Bond. You don't need it, technically. Okay, technically you don't need Primordial Bond. You could go, like, Renewal, Rotting Claws, 2 Jewel Sockets, if that's cheaper. I'll actually look that up right now. Just to show the original, this is the one I picked originally. Primordial Bond, Renewal, Rotting Claws, 2 Jewel Sockets, 4.9. It's usually like 5 or 5.5, so the fact that it was 4.9 was pretty nice. I snaked this. Okay, now we'll look at it without Primordial Bond. Should be a really easy search. 35 Chaos, 65 Chaos, and look, you could just... Oh wait, you need 8 passives. 120, 120, 120, 120, 125. There you go, dude. There you go. Budget option. Way better than 5x for anyone trying to copy the build. My bad. Let me just adjust this and recommend that instead. Copy. Because watch, it won't even make a damage difference. It's only going to be the golem effect, which now this will be very beneficial for anyone watching. And now we realized this adjustment live that we could go budget on this too. Okay. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so yeah, we just literally traded over to 10% increased damage. Like, it's not that bad, dude. It's not that bad. And if you want to spend an X, you spend an X and you slime it, or you could buy a different one, because there was actually a few. There was a few options, as you saw. Another one for 120, another one. Attack speed and cast speed, which you might as well, right? It's the same, but it's extra damage. Let's see the damage difference. This is just for fun. So 1.06. Okay. So the prices and everything matter a lot in a build like this. Ooh! And then I wanted to point out, so the Devouring Diadem has no enchant this time. I went no enchant Devouring Diadem, so I want to show that also, so you guys know what that costs. 9C, 10C. Devouring Diadem's really cheap. I love it. Okay. Let me show the Astral Plate in my build. So the Astral Plate is this one. They're like relatively the few at the bottom of what I looked for, which was life and chaos res, because that's the biggest problems in the build, were pretty cheap. I looked for boots, and I was looking for 35 move speed, life, and then whatever else, and I found these corrupted ones that are pretty beautiful. If you notice, that's a lot of good stuff. We actually need intelligence in the build, because we corrupted the base nodes, and then we also don't have socket walls, and we don't have all the attributes, so attributes are pretty nice. 14C, you just have to fix up the sockets, and wow, it's a really good boot. The weapon is expensive. The weapon is 7x, and technically you could not have the +2 and not have the multi. You could just have +1 minion damage and attack and cast speed. Like it's this one, but that's an option, right? To lose the +2. But then the Empower isn't as good, and you wouldn't run Empower, and then you wouldn't run, you would have minion damage instead of Empower. I can show you. Well, yeah, so the level of them is pretty high, and I like level stacking, so I do recommend getting at least this weapon, but I'm saying that technically before this, if you want to go even more budget than this, the alternative, okay, I should show it. It would be without support, and then you would search, and you could find like something like this where you have attack +1 damage and attack for 1x, 2.7x. So obviously this is way cheaper, and it's still a 6-link 3x. So let's just take a look at what this costs. I mean, what this adds. Okay, we'll just take this one and put it in the build, comparing it, because it's important. And did it have 28%? Yep. Okay, let's change it over. It's gonna be worse. What? Wait, what did I do? Okay. I somehow scrolled this, and then it went to Chaos Golem, and the damage was just shit, and that's what's going on. Okay, here we go. We got the new one and the old one. So a difference of 250,000, which honestly isn't the worst, right? Like, that's not the worst for saving what is 4x, which is literally the multi and the +2. So you could go for +1 minion damage and minion attack and cast speed, and it's not that bad, and you save 4x. So if you want to go even a budget weapon before my weapon, the one I recommend, then that's what you go there. And then the life difference, 37,000, 30,000. It's not the worst, you know. Oh, also we could actually up this a little bit, because this technically hasn't the empower. So let me 824. It should be higher with minion damage. Yeah, and we'll switch this to a 2020. 835. Wait, that's the same, right? But it's an empower 4, which is pretty crazy. Okay, it's 824. That's really close. So you can run minion damage 2020 instead of the empower if you're running the the cheaper weapon. But when you get the +2, that's when the empower actually gets really good, because the empower gets 2 levels, and that's how that's working. Yeah. It's actually the empower how you get use of that support. Without the empower, it doesn't work. And then in this build, I decided to not run Purity of Elements, so we're running in the helmet Pride, Haste, Dreadbanner, Generosity, and so you can actually run Generosity here. And we in the old one we ran Enlightened 4, which is expensive, and we ran we ran Purity of Elements with the Watcher's Eye, which is really expensive. So in this one, I'm running Dreadbanner, Haste, Pride. So just pure damage, and then the Generosity affects the Dreadbanner and the Haste, and this could be Awakened Generosity if you can afford it. The boot setup, same as normal. Same. This time, because we save two gems, we don't have Purity of Elements, and we don't have Enlightened 4. We get to add Meat Shield and Blind to our Carrion Golem, so he basically gains the effect of what a really good Abyss Jewel would be, which is blinding and taunting enemies. So our Carrion Golem is a literal god. Let's show. He should be the one that should never die. So 20k. There you go. It's pretty cool. Chaos Golems, I gave an Empower 3, Maim Feeding Frenzy, so you have your Feeding Frenzy applied by the Chaos Golem, Maim applied by the Chaos Golem, and the Empower to give it level 22, so it has 5% additional physical damage reduction, just like the other build, but trying to do it on a budget. You need Maim 20, I don't think you need Quality, I keep forgetting this, or keep putting this in. And for the link, technically for this, you could change Flesh Offering to Desecrate level 1 if you want to create corpses for your Devouring Diadem instead of using Flesh Offering. It's better for survivability. Also, what was I going to say? The Stone Golems. So yeah, the links, I did them in order of utility. Well, Empower is the best with this weapon, but then it goes like Brutality, Multistrike, Melee Fizz, and Pale. And Awaken Melee Fizz is like the best next one to go because it gains you this thing called Intimidate. So you'd be able to click this, is the enemy intimidated, boom! And you'd have Awakened Melee Fizz. 1.2 from the good old 1.17, and without the Intimidate. Ridiculous difference, dude, right? Like, yeah. So you can see where you get your damage. It's the gems and the things. For this main source, it's your weapon. It was funny, without... So I want to explain that this build is literally 7 harmonies, 1 anima stone, the timeless jewel, the 1 might, the 2 eminence, and then we use the large cluster for the rotting claws. The renewal is really good, and the 2 jewel sockets is really good. And then we don't use the freeze immune flask from my main build. We use immune to poison now, because you're as an elementalist, you're immune to elemental ailments. We have 315% avoid elemental ailment, so we never get elemental ailment. And then Yeah. Also, I love it that golems can't take elemental damage, so you don't have to worry about their elemental res as a minion. It's a beautiful thing, dude. They're like half immune. And I wanted to mention that the build was actually like, okay, so the core of this build, I figured it out. It's the 7 harmonies, so this is the stuff you need. The 7 harmonies, the Anima Stone, the Glorious Vanity. Let me get the right one. I don't know why I have the wrong one in here. Every time I paste the one into the build, look, it's a Zabakwa. I'll show you. Zabakwa. Copy. Go to my build. Paste. Val. Question mark. Okay, so I had to edit it myself, but we did it, and now we have the Zabakwa in the build, so now it won't mislead people, because by the time when they look at the POP, and also it's in the video, so. Okay, so, basically, to put it all in perspective, like I said, 7 harmonies, 1 might, 2 eminence, the Anima Stone, Glorious Vanity, and the large cluster that you can go for the cheaper option, which we showed here. You don't need the Primordial Bond, and I showed the cheaper option for the weapon too. You technically don't need the bigger weapon to spend 4 more X. You can just spend 3 and get this nice cheaper weapon and show how the upgrades work. Okay, so then I wanted to show this real quick. It was that the build was fully functioning with that damage without any of these items. So it was just, and like the flasks don't do anything. So it was just to show that the damage, look at how cool this looks when you put it into perspective like this. It's jewels, the weapon, the helmet for the survivability next to the golems, and the amulet giving you more golems. That's the build. This is the core, dude. Uh-oh. You're giving GGG the direct... Okay, so then the rest of the build... See, normally we throw in the Sokka walls and all these, like, required items. No. Here, you look at your problems. Holy shit, Chaos Res and your Res's life. Okay, so what is the number 1 thing you want on all 6 of these items? Life. Oh my god, Ethan, thank you so much for telling us what to get on the item. Yeah. So life is your number 1 thing. Prioritize life on these 6, but the number 1 second thing, this is where it gets hard. Chaos Rest. So you'll find that you should go for the rings first and try to get 2 stone rings and the glove. So you're going to find the glove the easiest with multiple things. So for example here, I got ridiculous life. So it was 80 plus life, 31 plus chaos res, and I got 44 fire res for 20 chaos. So I bought them. The ring, I went through a few options here. I don't remember which ones I'm using exactly, but I think I wanted the dex. I got Chaos Res, Life, and then the Dex. We need it because we're also missing Dex, and we were missing Intelligence before. Not anymore. I fixed that apparently. And I think I'm using... I don't remember. Either way, the belt, 1 belt. We got 1 boot. This was I showed you the disgusting boot. I showed you the disgusting belt, how I got it. 1x for the belt. The boot was the 19C or something. This was 20C. This was 50. Then what are we missing? Cold. Did I mess something up? Was it this one? $68. Where did I miss it? Oh, it's the body armor. We good. Right, so then this ring was this one. There we go. Beautiful. So yeah, the 5500 life, all the reses, and we didn't spend that much on the gear to actually fix up all of these reses, and so Chaos Res isn't as hard as you think. You just have to know how you're going to prioritize getting it. So I chose to focus on the chest plate as life, increased life, which is the same roll. You can get 110 life and like 8% increased life, and then you could find reses with that, hopefully. Or Chaos Res. It's kind of expensive with Chaos Res. I go for the glove with Chaos Res. I go for the rings with Chaos Res because we're not going unset rings and we don't have strength, so it's really easy. The belt was easy, but then I say that the boots are kind of difficult and the chest plate can be kind of difficult. Those are the two things where you're going to want the 35 move speed and you're going to want the percent life. So then, yeah, this is ways to get it a little bit cheaper of buying out the rest of the gear. And then you have pretty good damage. So how's this actually do? Well, I mentioned 7 million damage. You should be able to do tier 15, which is just insane. The fact that this is like a 10 to 15x, maximum 20, and you can clear tier 15 Blight AFK, fully AFK, and you won't die. What? What do you mean, bro? That's too good. That's too good. But yeah, that's the this is the budget build. This breaks the game. This is like, cause why? Who cares about the zombies anymore, guys? Dude, just go break the game. Look how dumb this is. We don't have awakened gems. We have no real like. God damn. So I literally have showed everything right. All the options, all the things, the prices. It's pretty clear how cheap this was. Oh, let me go through the jewels, how much these were, because let me go through the actual required items, the fully required items, so that people understand. Okay, I have a bunch of them set up. Here's the amulet. This is pretty straightforward, pretty easy, 10 to 20. Yeah, that's pretty, okay, cool. You can anoint this with Ravenous Horde. Then next, we get the 20% increase attack and cast speed eminence. Yeah, that's, yep. 10 to 20. Okay, seems pretty solid. This is decently rolled harmonies, so like really good, really like decent rolls. You're only paying about, yeah. So you could go shittier than this, like if you wanted a base, like who cares about what it rolls? It's gonna be like nothing, but if you want good rolls, it's something. And then this is a perfectly rolled might, because the only thing you care about is the life anyway, so 10, it's really cheap. So this build is truly budget, and you're pushing millions of DPS, fully AFK, with great regen, and they nerf zombies. Well, this is the new build, boys. This is the new build. God, I love this. Oh my God, I hope you guys enjoy this too. Everyone's gonna be like, Ethan, I really wasn't sure about making the build, but now I have no excuse. It's literally cheap. Yes, but it might not be after this. Yeah, so it's the jewels, really cheap. The large clusters can be only 120 if you buy a cheaper one by not getting the Primordial Bond, which I actually recommend. I recommend not getting the Primordial Bond there. And yeah, look at the regen. 1,000 regen, 5,500 life, 7 million damage, reses. And the build's cheap. So yeah, what would this actually be able to clear in the game? Tier 15 Blight. Yeah, this is, and if anyone goes, oh, this is higher than 5, dude, you could lower this to 3, and then it looks closer to 5, and then even then, it's like crazy that we were able to work out a budget version that competes with the like top tier shit. And yeah, I didn't want to go 5x because you got to make the build at least. Like, I could probably make the minimalistic shit, but you gotta show it actually doing like pretty good on a super budget. Like, this is so much cheaper than my main build. We don't have the weapon and all that, so it's really nice. So yeah, I was just thinking, is there anything else I need to tell them for this budget build? Okay, well, the Pantheons are Lunaris and Abberath. You use Abberath to stop the Burning Ground in Blight because it will cause problems in normally the zombie build because you're using Liege, but in this one with regen it might be a little bit better, but I still wouldn't want to do that. So I'd want Abberath, and then I run Lunaris. And then if you hate poison because you're not chaos res capped, or you're not even close, maybe you're negative chaos res, the Shakari can help for the poison immune. Yeah, I technically did make this build work without one large cluster, like I said, but it had 73 impale, and I don't like that at all. So I'd rather recommend at least one large with 2 jewel sockets and the Rotting Claws, and then because you're already doing that, you should probably get Renewal, because it's pretty good damage. And some people might ask, who are watching this, who haven't watched, or don't watch everything that I put out, but the reason why I say Renewal in this build but not in the zombie build is this build has a ton of regeneration, so we run all these harmonies, and each of these harmonies gives 2% regen for the golems of 2% of their life per second. So it's 14% life per second for these jewels. Add the renewal, it's 15%. It's another 1%. So you get 15% life regen in this build on the things. In my other build, I have like 3 renewals, so it's 17% regen, and it's pretty fun. And then they're usually at full life because of all this regen, so then they can actually you can actually tick this thing, and that's 1 renewal. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I wish we could have Avian and Avian and Flight. Look, if I could have Might and Flight, dude, with my Saka walls, literally just wearing a different chestplate that also gives me all those attributes, the res, the reduced mana reserve, which is just one of the best aura chestplates in the game. Pretty funny. Either way. Though the Saka walls are super expensive with 10% reserve mana, so I've left it alone for this budget build and recommended some cheap options instead. Yes. Is there anything else? So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope this can help a few people with this build, maybe that are trying to do this on a budget and trying to figure it out for themselves. I hope this looks better than what they were doing. I hope I've made it super clear and straightforward, and this matches very similarly to what we were already doing, except now it just fits as a cheaper alternative than 800x for people that can actually then play it at lower tiers. This will shit on all tiers, and then you could switch out the weapon to be even more budget, like I said, and you'd still have really good damage, enough to do at least like tier 13 probably. Yeah. Either way, hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the support. I'm going to take this opportunity to thank my Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you guys, and thank you to anyone new who joins today on the Patreon or the YouTube members. Thank you guys for all the support. I couldn't do this without you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!